Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on the podcast, I was very lucky to have Stavros on. He is a coach, author, speaker. He is also the founder of Live Your Way Thin as well. We talked about many things. We talked about, basically, building good habits to help facilitate life change. We also talked about, how what nutritionists do not talk about with regards to the realms of nutrition. We also talked about, how things, like we talked a little bit about the Biggest Loser and like what sort of mistakes they've made along the way. All in all, it was a great conversation, even though he is a filthy Man United fan. Haha. And I look forward to having him back on the podcast in the near future. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and I'll see you soon. Peace. Haha. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on the podcast, I have Stavros Mastrogiannis on the podcast. Yes, I've got the name right.
Yes.
It's brilliant. You don't know how many times I get people's names wrong. It is not even funny. He is a coach, author, speaker, founder of the Live Your Life Thin way. Wait, how comes I got that wrong? System. But, and he's also a Man United fan, and we have been waxing lyrical about the plight of Man United and basically talking about character as well beforehand. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm really happy to be here.
Yes, you know what? All I've got to say is I need to vet people harder because you know what? If I knew, hey, no, you wouldn't be here. But no, but
you let a menu fan sneak on your show, huh?
Look, you know what? At this moment in time, it's like, hey, as I say, it's all good fun and games, all good fun and games. But as I was saying beforehand, when we were talking like about character, it's one of those things where, okay, character is a trait. It's like a muscle. You've got to constantly exercise your character. If you don't exercise your character, it will get weak. It will fade away. And look, when you need it at the most, it's not going to be there for you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's what I believe in, like in fitness, in the sense, is that you have to have a certain belief about yourself.
Yes.
And if you don't have the belief, in other words, if you don't believe that you can get in shape, you can be a healthy person, you're not going to achieve it. You got to truly believe it, and I'll give you the example in sports, in Man U, not anymore, unfortunately. Well, when teams came to play at Old Trafford, they already lost mentally because Man U had that character that this is our home, we're going to win. Unfortunately, they've lost that. Sad. Now, Liverpool has that. When you go there, you play with this mindset that we are the best. And I feel in fitness, you should feel the same way, that whatever you go after, whatever eating habit or whatever fitness program you're trying to follow, you have to have the belief that it's only a matter of time before I make this a habitual behavior.
Yeah, but like when you say habitual behaviors, building those sort of habits you need on a sort of day-to-day basis, I always seem to find, and like this is me personally, now, habits are easiestly built when you remove as many paths of resistance as possible. Because look, like back in the day when I first sort of started going out running, and if I had my like running stuff in the drawers, like had to find my shoes, everything like this, the little grains of excuses would start to pour in. But when it's like, I've got this is my stuff prepared the night before, and then I can just like go pick up and go, it's easier. Like, I don't know with your immense experience with like sort of building habits and everything like this, do you sort of like work on building like one sort of key system? I know with your Live Your Way Thin system, that is I imagine, a whole big thing, you know?
Yeah, it's exactly what you said, is that the less obstacles you have that get in your way of engaging in a behavior, the more likely you're going to stick with the behavior long enough to make it a habit. I give you an example similar to what you said. When the client comes to me and says, I want to lose weight, I want to get in shape, I look at, okay, what behaviors are you missing? So most people are missing the exercise habit, and they're missing 4 or 5 good eating habits. Instead of trying to apply everything into your life, which is going to overwhelm most people, we start with one habit at a time. So first, we're going to start with the exercise habit. Now, the first goal of any exercise program, by the way, is not results. The first goal of an exercise program is to develop the habit of exercising. And how do you do that? Well, you make the action so small and so simple that you cannot talk yourself out of it. I give you an example. Let's say you came to me and you said, Stavros, I want to develop the habit of walking or running every week. What I would tell you is, okay, let's start this week. And this week goal is to walk 3 times of at least 1 to 5 minutes each time. Now, most people will look at me and was like, what the heck would 1 minute or 5 minutes of walking will do? It's not going to do much. But if let's say you got home after a long day of work and you're tired and you look at that treadmill and I gave you, let's say, the typical advice, which is 20 to 30 minutes of cardio, what is the chance of you getting on a treadmill and walking or running for 20 or 30 minutes? Slim to none. On the other hand, if you only had to do 1 to 5 minutes, even if you were tired and this crazy trainer is going to ask you if you did it, chances are you're going to get on the treadmill. So what happens? You start developing the habit as soon as you get home, getting on the treadmill, because it's only 1 to 5 minutes more likely for you going to get on it. Once you develop that habit, then we add a few more things to your workout. Maybe do some push-ups. When you get home, do 5 push-ups. Again, 5 push-ups are not going to do much, but because you start doing it on a weekly basis, it becomes a habitual behavior. And then before you know it, exercising becomes part of your life. I would give you the one example that changed my whole life. I changed my whole approach to fitness. Are you familiar with the Kaizen Method? Have you ever heard of it?
No, I have not. What does it entail?
Kaizen, it's an ancient Asian philosophical system on how to apply change. And Toyota, obviously, the Toyota company, the car company. Yeah. They used that method in 1949 to go from 1949, there was a company going bankrupt. And with that system, they went and they became one of the most successful car companies in the world. That system is really simple. Small, tiny changes over time. That's really the essence of the system. So after reading that, because the way I looked at it was that I tried to help people develop habits. What is the best way that can help them develop habits? And as a matter of fact, actually, I got to give a little credit to my wife on that one, because I'm one of those lucky people. Well, people that consider me lucky, but technically is unlucky, that I could get away eating a lot of junk food and do a lot of bad things, and my health doesn't get affected as easy as other people. So my wife one day says to me, "Don't you feel a little bit like a hypocrite? You're telling your clients to cut down junk food, and yet you eat chocolate, you drink soda pretty much every single day. Don't you see there's a problem here?" And I'm like, you're making a very good point. Like all good wives do make very good points. Okay, we have to listen.
I understand. She might be in earshot. Be careful. Yeah.
So I started, I'm like, okay, well, then I started getting to the habit. I started researching, how do you develop habits? And that's how I came across the Kaizen Method. So I started applying the Kaizen Method on myself first. I wanted to see if it works. So the first habit was to develop the habit of flossing. My dentist, by the way, is also my client. So he would lecture me how I'm not flossing my teeth enough.
Yeah.
I would go, what?
No, I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would go to the office, for the regular cleanup. he would tell me not flossing enough. He would give me all the reasons why I should be flossing. I would get inspired. I would floss for a couple of weeks and then fall off the wagon. And that happened for years. So I realized a while ago, I'm trying to get people to exercise regularly. I can't even get myself to floss. So after reading the Kaizen Method, I said, okay, let me take flossing and I got to break it down to the smallest step possible, which is floss one tooth. So I started flossing one tooth every night, up, down, done. I told my dentist what I was doing. His reaction was, you're not flossing, you're wasting your time. I said, George, I'm not trying to floss. Forget the benefit I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to develop the habit of picking up the string every night. So by making the action so short, it didn't matter how tired I was, I started doing it. Within 2 or 3 months, I found myself flossing every single tooth. And I'm like, holy cow, this really works. So then I started applying it on junk food. What I did first was I said, okay, Monday to Friday, I'm no longer going to be having any kind of candy, but I could still have chips. I can still have soda, by the way. Once I got used to not having candy during the week, by the way, I can have it on the weekend, I included another group of junk food. Long story short, that's how I got myself now that I don't need any junk food Monday to Friday, but on the weekends, I can have it all I want. But because I can have it on the weekend, I found myself, even on the weekends, I can have some soda, I can have one devil dog or some chocolate, but not feel the need to indulge on them because I can have them every weekend.
Yeah.
By the way, my kids have the same rules. Like my kids, Monday to Friday, no junk food. Friday after 5 p.m., you want to have soda, you want to have candy, no problem at all. And I find if my kids can have half a can of soda and dump the rest because it's not a big deal anymore. And that whole approach changed my whole, that philosophy, the Kaizen philosophy, changed everything of how I approach fitness. And I started applying it to my clients, and all of a sudden, making exercise, they were able to develop the habits and make, like exercise, for instance, a habitual behavior. And they started doing it, not because they had to, it's because it's part of the routine. It's like the question I ask people is in the morning when you first wake up, do you debate whether you're going to brush your teeth? Do you debate whether you're going to comb your hair? If you have any hair, that is. Do you debate on this? What?
How dare you? I see. I see those little tabs coming back now. Okay.
But you don't. You just do it, not because you love, because it's a routine. Well, you want everything you do to get in shape has to become a routine. You cannot be relying on motivation to do it. To me, motivation is what gets you going, gets you started. But habit is what keeps you going. And I think, unfortunately, the weight loss methods today rely too much on motivation to do the right thing. Me, my system relies on habits.
Yeah. But like, this is the thing, like, I agree with you with regards to doing like things in small stages, because what you tend to find a lot of people, what they do is like, okay, I need to get myself in shape. Okay, I'm going to go for a 10-mile run. And it's like, when was the last time you ran 10 miles? It's like, not since I was in like college or like in high school. And like, how long ago was that? 20 years. Okay, good luck with that. When they're huffing, puffing, wheezing their way like in 2 miles, and they go, no, I can't do this. And they just basically get that illusion that it's shattered because reality strikes. You go, okay, right. And they drop off. But what I would say with the habit, what really is important as well is, I think, a why factor. If you do not have that why you're doing it, you will, like, basically you can build all the habits you want in the world, but if you don't know the reason why you're doing it, it's like you won't actually show up.
Exactly. Matter of fact, one exercise for your audience, I think they'll find this a good exercise, which I do with all my clients. When they first join, the first thing I have them do, it's a mental exercise. I have them write down 10 reasons. Why are you here? Why do you want to get in shape? What's the big deal? As a matter of fact, I even asked them not to show me the list, because I want them to put down whatever motivated them to want to get in shape. Because in the beginning, when you first decide you want to get in shape, all those reasons are in your head. But once you start trying to apply getting in shape into your life, and life gets in the way, you stop focusing on the reasons why you're doing something, and you start focusing on the obstacles that get in your way of getting in shape. So by writing them down when they're fresh in your head before you even start, and you put them aside once a week or every day if you want, look at the list, remind yourself exactly what you said. Why am I doing this for again? Why am I going through this process? And then the next list I have them write is, I call it the get disturbed paragraph. So write down a paragraph or two as to where you headed if you don't take action, if you don't get in shape, you continue with your current bad habits, make it ugly. The uglier, the better. And you put that list aside. So again, when you find yourself demotivated, you look at both lists. You look at the positive, the motivation to gain pleasure, and then you also look at the negative. In other words, because the motivation to avoid pain is the greatest motivator. So by looking at the negative list also, in other words, if I continue with these bad habits, what am I looking forward to in the near future? That might also motivate you, because some people get motivated by the positive things. Some people need a little fear to get motivated.
Yeah, I hear you. But like, this is the thing. What I don't think people actually sometimes realize is what the true price is. Because look, okay, you yourself, like, okay, like before your lovely wife chimed in and went, hey, what you doing, buddy? It's like, I'm like, chocolates, soft drinks, and like, yeah, every snack under the sun, Monday to Sunday, and you're telling people to get healthy. Now that is, you've been doing that for God knows how long. What people tend to don't realize is, okay, to reverse many of the effects, they've gone down that path all that time. Just like, yeah, either the sedentary lifestyle, the bad eating, or like a myriad of things, like which could be mental or whatnot. They've traveled along that path for a very long time, maybe on autopilot. And then basically that sort of conscious decision to like go, okay, I want to change this around. And I know some people are like, I want to get beach ready, for example. For summer 2022. It's like going, yeah, maybe you might be looking at summer 2023, possibly, or 2024. It's like,
it depends on your shape.
Yeah, but they don't know. I don't think they really look at the price it might cost in time and effort,
No, I agree. Is that once people have made the decision to want to get in shape, they want it by tomorrow. And I always tell them, you didn't get into this bad shape overnight. So you can't expect overnight you're going to go back into good shape.
Yes.
And I think I wish that more fitness professionals, because again, you look at most of the weight loss programs on the market today, they're trying to change all your behaviors at once. And that, I think, is one of the biggest mistakes, that you can't just change overnight. Remember, 95% of your day is run by habitual behaviors. Trying to change all those behaviors at once, it's a monumental task that most people cannot sustain.
Yeah.
The best way is to make small changes, little tiny changes, get used to them, make a part of your life, then make another small change, get used to it. So you always are really close or within your comfort zone. Because we all can go outside our comfort zone a little bit, and you're going to have to in order to make changes. But if you get outside your comfort zone this much, you're going to more likely burn out before whatever behavior you include into, or behaviors you include into your life became habitual.
Yeah. One of the things I often say, and I think it's one of these realizations which has come to me like sort of over the last few years. It's like, okay, 2%. Aim for 2% each day to make your life better. Like you go, what? Just 2%. Just like make it 2%. Like you go, okay, yeah. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Your life 10% better. Might be 5% because you know how it goes.
Yeah.
It's never an upward slope. But go with 2%, and I go, yeah. See where your life is in 6 months' time. If you're like, you will find you've made a considerable amount of journey along that way. Yes, there's going to be times where you've gone up by 30%, you've
Yeah.
dropped by 20, and like, yeah, but it's going to be your life from like, say, the 8th of March is going to be much better in August, say, than it was like if you make that concerted effort to make your life 2% better. And yeah, admittedly, it might be a case of focusing on your finance for
Yeah.
yourself. It'll be like your health, or just basically just your mental well-being, or just building like a better relationship with your loved ones. But that 2% effort, it's not a lot, but cumulatively, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing is that it goes back to, again, if, talking about the weight loss industry, is that in order to be able to stick with that 2% or to stick with small changes, we also have to change our success indicator. And let me explain what I mean by that.
Yeah, go.
Most people, when they decide to lose weight, the success indicator is the scale. If I get on the scale, if the weight went down, I'm successful.
Yeah.
If the weight didn't go down, I'm not successful. And that's the mistake, because sometimes it might take 3 or 4 small changes before you see the scale move. But if you're using the scale as your success indicator all the time, and after the first 2 small changes that you made, you did not see the scale move, what happens? You start feeling like a failure. So what I tell my clients is change your success indicator. The success indicator that I use, and I advise people to use, if again, let's go back to the example of exercising.
Yeah.
The first week, you did 3 aerobic workouts, walking doesn't matter, of 1 to 5 minutes. Did you do that? Yes. Great week. Let's say the following week, you end up doing 4 days of 1 to 5 minutes of aerobics. Did you do better than the previous week? Yes. It's a great week. You're making progress. The following week, let's say we added some weight training, some push-ups. Great. You're making progress. Like when I did with the junk food, like when I was keeping track of the amount of junk food I was eating, is let's say the first week I was able to have 3 days I did not eat any junk food. Okay, great, I'm making progress. The following week I made it 3.5. Great, I'm making progress. I didn't care if the scale moved yet, because I know, well, in my case, it wasn't the scale was looking to move anyway. But for people who try to lose weight, the scale will move sooner or later. It's only a matter of changing enough habits. That's it. That's so the success indicator should be on whatever habit are you working on. Are you making progress on the habit? If you are, you're doing good.
Yeah, no, because no, I agree with you, because like this is the thing. TV show, when I first watched it, I loved it. I was like, oh my God, yes, amazing. Biggest Loser, right? Okay.
Yes.
Watch that show. They did the scales, and like basically it was like, yeah, seeing the pounds come off, and you saw these huge numbers. It's like, yeah, 50 pounds, 60 pounds. Like I think the most I've ever seen come off of one person, like in a sort of 10-day period.
Yeah.
70 pounds. It's like, oh my God. You're going, this is amazing. And you're like going, yeah, like went through week after week. They were in the gym for 9 to 12 hours a day. And you're like going, oh God, yeah, great. Really motivating in the time when you're sort of in that sort of blinkered mode, in that sort of box, in that atmosphere. Then then a few years later, you're going, wait a second, how are you going to be able to do this with a 9 to 5? How are you going to actually be able to do this like with a 9 to 5? And if you've got kids, how are you going to do this? And it was like, it doesn't really make sense. And then the story started to come out.
Yep.
Like, look, first Biggest Loser, back,
all of them
worse. Yeah. So
every single one gains the way back. I read actually an article a few years ago about the Biggest Loser in the New York Times. Every single one gains the way back. So the question I tell people to ask yourself before you start any weight loss program, a quick way to tell if you will to maintain the results with a program is to ask yourself this simple question: whatever they're asking me to do in order to get in shape, can I see myself doing that for the rest of my life? Can I live with those changes? So with the Biggest Loser, exactly what you said. Can you exercise for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours a day? I couldn't, and I live in the gym. So to me, you automatically know you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing about The Biggest Loser, which I found very interesting, is they did some research and they found out that the biggest losers, after they went through the program,
Yes.
their resting metabolic rate had actually significantly decreased. They became more efficient. It goes, in other words, after they lost all the weight, they look at people with similar weight, their metabolic rate, it's actually slower than the person with similar weight. So the theory was that, so you see the body is called the set point theory, where the body's trying to go back to the original weight that they were at. Actually, that's not the problem. There was a study done 2 years before in I think it was Tanzania, Africa, if I'm not mistaken. This is very interesting. In Tanzania, they had one of the few hunter-gatherer tribes left in the world.
Okay.
So they hooked them up on GPS and they followed them around and looked at how active they were. These people were twice as active as the average person in the West working in an office. However, when they went in and they actually measured how many calories they burned in the 24-hour period, guess what? They burned the same number of calories as the average person in the West working in an office. So the question comes up, is like, wait a minute, how can they be twice as active and yet burn the same number of calories? And this is what they discovered. You see, the body burns calories three ways. You have the thermic effect of food, which is digestion. That's around 10%. The resting metabolic rate, which is your heart, your lungs, what keeps you alive. It's 60 to 70% of all the calories you burn. And the last one is activity level. And that is between 20 to 30% of all the calories that you burn. However, as activity level goes up, think of the body as a factory that creates energy, let's say. Well, any factory cannot produce unlimited amount of energy. It has a limit of how much energy I can produce. Well, as your activity levels goes up, the body adapts by initially increase the amount of energy it produces, but then once it reaches the limit, it starts making all the other functions more efficient. So in other words, it starts slowing down the resting metabolic rate. It makes your body more efficient at using energy because it needs to conserve energy for the activities that you're doing. By the way, that's a benefit, technically speaking. The more efficient you are, the better it is. So what happens is those people in Tanzania, that tribe, the resting metabolic rate was much slower than the average person's because the body had adapted to the lifestyle. So they have more energy available for walking and running and all the activities that they did.
Yeah.
In Biggest Losers, same thing happened. Because they were active, so exercising so much, their body adapted to that. So you slowed down the resting metabolic rate so it can have more energy for activities. But once they stopped the activity, well, the resting metabolic rate already had become more efficient. So that's why I always tell people when it comes to exercising, exercise only as much as you could comfortably maintain for life. That's why too much exercising can actually backfire. I know, does it?
No, that I find that interesting. Look, put it this way. Look, with regards to the sort of the extreme amount of exercising the losers did. I don't think, they tried to bring it back, and I think no one was interested in seeing that show ever again.
No, I know.
Yeah, I just if you can't, the day is 24 hours and you got to get sleep, you got to work. For this is for the typical average person. But yeah, if you can't do the exercise, or if you can't fit the time in to that sort of level, not what I'd ever recommend anyone doing it to that level. I'll just simply go, no. Put it this way, a couple of weekends ago, not last weekend, but the weekend before, I don't know, have you heard of the 4-4-48? David Goggins is where you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
Oh no, I'm not familiar with that.
No, I did that 2 weekends ago. It was the second time I ever did it. But yes, I can do, I've done it twice, and once this year, once the year before. But I am not going to be going out there every damn week doing the 4-4 48 because no, I would be literally physically out of it every single day because it takes a toll. And
It does.
yeah. And it's like I kind of know what my sort of limits are for exercise. And I think it's sometimes very hard for people to find what their true limit is because look, you go, yeah, do the amount of exercise, what you can do for life. But it's like there are times where people, how can I say, they game themselves and they won't necessarily push themselves to that limit to start burning or really like to start burning that sort of level of like exercise to help them improve. They just sort of stay under the line, if you get what I mean.
Yes. And that's why though I tell people, because sometimes getting to the point that they're really getting a lot of benefits, a lot of people, because they're so inactive, that can burn them out. And that's why I tell people when you first get into an exercise program, in the beginning, don't worry about the results. Worry about getting into the behavior of exercising by doing it small, tiny steps. But once you get into the behavior, eventually you're going to get to the level where you can really get some really good benefits from your exercising.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, for the average person who's not active, trying to get there right away, although for you and me might not seem to be that bad, for the average person might be, and it burns them out.
Oh yeah, no, this is the thing. Like one of the things I think many a person, and like I've seen it a lot of times when I've been in the gym, like you'll see a newbie with someone who's like had their gym experience. And like you see him like, oh yes, lift that weight. And like you see this poor person struggle with this weight and like they're like trying to get like their forms all wrong. They're like struggling. And like you're like, oh, it took me a long time when I first sort of like started making those gains to like go, whoa, 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 whoa. Where I started from is a different place to where that person might be starting from. And like that person might be advanced, they might be less, but you got to assess where they are and then make that real sort of adjustment there because there's been a couple of times where like, yeah, remember that person's not you.
Yeah,
They're them.
exactly.
So like, look, the weight you're putting on them to lift, they're not going to necessarily know how to do it. Like they might get to where you are in about like 2-3 years time and no one wants to hear that because
no, doesn't sell really well.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, give them time and like, yes, they'll be there with you, but not like, here you go, here's 50 pounds, lift it.
The one thing I always tell people when they first start an exercise program is that it's essential that you always finish your exercise routine wanting to do more. In other words, never get to the point especially when you first start, saying, thank God this is over. Because if you start working on the beginning at a point that you say, thank God this is over, you begin dreading the process. I always tell people it's essential in the beginning to always finish the workout wanting to do more, because then you look forward to the next workout. And obviously, slowly you're gonna keep intensifying it, but you'll be surprised that in a month or two, you're gonna be doing 2 or 3 times as hard things that you did in the beginning, but you don't mind it as much. And I think, and again, it goes back to the point that people start too fast, too hard, because everybody's in a hurry.
Yeah.
To me, like, we need to take a step back, take your time, enjoy the process.
Absolutely, because like everyone wants this sort of like 4-week program, and like you're like, all right, you can like, okay, you can achieve like if you're starting from absolute zero in 4 weeks, you can achieve a lot, but if you expect yourself to be on some fitness magazine or like some like major fitness influencer, rock hard abs, chisel features, like where you're coming from a very doughy perspective, like point of view before, and no, it's not going to happen in 4 weeks. Like, yeah, maybe in 4 years, depending. But like, this is the thing. Like, people like, oh yeah, but what about that young lady over there? And I've known people who have done like I've known ladies who have done bikini like work, like you know what I mean, bikini shows. I've known people which have been bodybuilders, and it's a case of but they're not starting from the same point as you. They've had years of working out, and now they're going on a 13-week or a 26-week program to like just cut the weight and like show the definition of
Yeah.
the muscles. So you're not even in the same place. So don't compare yourself to them, which in this day and age is a harder and harder thing to do with the realms of sort of social media, no?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's a big problem. As a matter of fact, actually, a lot of fit people make terrible examples to follow, which is exactly what you said, because people want to imitate them. But again, they're in a different level.
Oh, yeah.
And also, you know, the saying, do unto others as you like done unto yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually bad advice, because what I like and what you like are two different things. I always say to people, do unto others what they like done unto themselves.
Mm.
And, you know, like the whole debate that a lot of people get into when they decide they want to get in shape, the question they ask me like goes, which is the best aerobic machine I can use? And my answer is the one that you like. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if treadmill burns more calories, if the bike burns more calories, or the rowing machine burns more calories. It doesn't really matter, because if you hate treadmill, but you like the bike, even if the treadmill burns more calories, it depends on, you're not going to really stay consistent with it because you don't like it.
Yeah.
So I'd say pick what you like, especially in the beginning. Pick what feels the best for you, and don't worry about which is more effective, because consistency is the key to results. It's not what you do great once in a while, it's what you do consistently. And to me, that's where a lot of times the people's rush to get results and trying to get the most effective workout. As a matter of fact, actually, I always make fun of a lot of fitness professionals where we have focused so much on creating the most effective workout that they forgot the most effective workout is the one that people can do. If a workout people cannot stay consistent with it, it doesn't really matter how effective it is.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But like, this is the thing. One of the things which is the most powerful thing in the universe is consistency. Like,
Yes.
because look, people are like, what do you mean? Okay, if you do things consistently bad things will generally happen to you. Like, you might get the random outlier where a good thing might come out of a bad thing, but no, like consistently do bad things will happen back to you. On the other hand, you do consistently good things, good things will come to you. Yeah, if someone goes, but if you consistently just sit on your backside, you're like, and you're like, oh, why is nothing happening for me? Because you have been consistently not doing anything. You have been consistently not being active, like either in the negative or the positive.
Yeah.
And still that outlier thing of something good or bad will still happen to you along the way, even if you do nothing. But like, the whole thing is, when people don't take this sort of realm of consistency and like sort of take responsibility for either the good things or the bad things,
Exactly.
Consistency, it's like, it kind of is one of those things where it is hard to look at yourself at times and go, I've been the one who's been the consistent screw up throughout my life. And like, it's easy to go, I've done things consistently well, but more times than not, it's the former rather than the latter.
Yeah, no, agree. Because with back, talking about consistency, the other, I think, advice that your listeners, I think, will benefit from is that we have to be realists that we're not going to always have all the time that we want to do everything we want to do fitness wise. So this is what I've done for myself, and I give the same advice to my clients. My workout consists of 9 exercises. That's the full workout, but only 3 are the must-dos. As long as I do those 3, I call it a workout. The rest of them are optional.
Okay.
Most of the time, by the way, I do all 9. But the reason I have that attitude is because there's days I'm very busy. I have a lot of stuff to do. If I had the mindset I must do all 9 to go to a workout, chances are I would have skipped the whole workout. But if I said to myself, something, I got a short time today, let me just do those 3 basic exercises. 1, chest, back, and legs. Those are my 3 basic ones.
Okay.
And a lot of times I'm like, something, I got a little extra time. Let me do the other ones too a little bit. And by having that attitude, even the days that I have low motivation, I don't feel great, I don't feel motivated, I never skip my workout. So it's like what the athletes do, in season, off season. So When I'm not feeling great, I do the minimum. When I'm feeling great, I do the maximum. But I'm always doing something, so I never fall behind. So in other words, I might be level off my results, and then I feel very motivated. I do a little bit more, and then I kind of slow down a little bit. But I'm always improving. Where most people, what they do is all or nothing.
Yeah.
All or nothing, it doesn't get you anywhere.
Well, yes. Well, like this is the thing. I think when you do the sort of all or nothing, fall into that sector, it's a case of when you do nothing and you're then like going, okay, I must catch up. I must catch up. I must catch up. You'll always be saying that sort of, I must catch up. I must catch up for a long time. Not unless if you like, oh yeah, I had 3 like 2-a-days and like you're like, oh, in a row, and you're like, okay, right. Not unless if you're some type of like professional athlete, you should not, like I would say, honestly, like 2-a-days are not going to really sort of benefit you in the like the greatest sense of the game, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Yep. But I tell my clients like, no, ideally, yes, you want to do 2, 3, 4 times a week, but even one is better than none because one will help you maintain. You're not going to make any gains, but you're not going to lose anything either. And that's why I will tell people that even because I had clients actually that worked, I live like an hour away from New York.
Yeah.
New York City. And I have clients that they worked in New York City and they were only home on the weekends. And they only worked with me once a week on the weekend only. That's it. And they didn't do anything else on their own. They made very small, tiny gains over a long period of time. Obviously, the clients that were coming 2 and 3 and 4 times a week, they were doing much better. But the once a week, which surprised me, to be honest with you, they still did, they got something. So that's why I always have the attitude that something is better than nothing. But if you can do more, by all means, do more. But eventually what happens, once you develop the habit, you start want to do more and you want to do more. And that's where I want to get with people is to the point that they do things because they really want to do things, not because they have to do it. Because when you feel like you have to do something, you're more likely to start hating it.
Well, like this is the thing. It's a case of they're going to have to do it. If they want to get in shape, they have to do it. It's like, look, there is no choice in the matter. It's like, I want to get in shape. Do I have to do the exercise? Yes, you've got to do the exercise. But I understand like where you're coming from with the sort of positive reinforcement. Don't like if you've missed 2, like if you're meant to do 3 sessions and you've missed 2, but you managed to do 1, you still managed to do 1. So give yourself a pat on the back for that. But you still need to make sure to get those 3 days in, because look, one of the things when I used to go to Fitness First in City Road in London, there was this couple which came in each and every week, and basically they'll do their workout, and I would watch them because they came on my radar after I think about a month. It was like, right, they would lift the same, they'll do the same weight, they'll go to one machine, just do 1 set, go to the next machine, do 1 set, and over the course of a year, I never saw them add more weight, get more intense, or anything like that. So I was like, what's going on here? Because not unless if they've been doing something elsewhere, but it was just and you see them, that's almost broke a sweat. And I'm thinking, it's not going to help you in the grand scheme of things, because look, because the human body is an amazing thing. Once you've activated it, and it's going, hey, buddy, it's okay, I know you're going to be doing this again and again and again. Look, as you say, you do 3 exercises, your legs, your back, and was it your chest?
Chest, back, legs. That's the core, and then got everything else.
But once the human body knows you're going to do that, it's okay, I've adjusted. And it's if you don't push yourself a little bit harder, I'm not saying going intense. It will just be I'm used to it,
Yeah, you should be changing the weights every so often, because once it becomes, actually, the way that I judge weight, I tell people that, again, depends on the goal, but in general terms, you should try to be able to do between 12 to 15 reps. If you can do 15 reps, no problem, increase the weight. Okay. And let's say you increase the weight and you can only do 12 or you can only do 10, that's fine. Stay with that. But once you can do 15 reps, increase the weight. Don't sit there and keep repeating the same way. You want to keep challenging your body, because that's how the body will grow, in a good sense. Grow, by the way, not
yeah. Yeah. No, but yeah, you were saying.
Oh no, and that's how, to me, I think part of the reason why I think so many people have a hard time sticking with an exercise program is because they go to the all or nothing. They get a lot of advice, well-meaning trainers, but they're giving them advice that for their level, it's not right, because the level is much lower, and then you have to start from where you are. Don't try to start from where an athlete is. An athlete's very different beast. It's very different training. The average person cannot do what what an athlete does.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And also another thing, like when it comes to sort of some trainers, I don't know, like I don't think it's the sort of typical like thing. Like most trainers try to train someone for life. Okay, you're with me and we're gonna go down this road together. Like, I've met you today, and yes, I'll hopefully carry this relationship all the way until you like shuffle off this mortal coil. And I don't get that, because I look at trainers should be like this. Okay, somewhat like driving a car. You don't have a driving instructor with you every damn day of your life until that. It's like, okay, yeah, we've been with each other for 6 months, maybe a year. Now you've got all the knowledge you need to basically go out there yourself
on your own.
And but not many trainers do that. It's like, hey, yeah.
I agree with you 100%, because though, a matter of fact, one thing I always tell my clients when they come in, I say, listen, I don't want to be your trainer for life. My goal is to make you independent, including for myself. Because if you become dependent on me for you to go do your workouts or to eat right, what happens when I retire? Are you going to fall off the wagon? Because I'm not going to work forever. So I think the goal of a trainer should be to teach people certain specific habits, whether it's the exercise habit and certain eating habits, and then that people should be able to go on their own. And to me, that's what the trainer's job is. Unfortunately, like you said, a lot of trainers don't teach that way. They teach dependency.
Yeah.
Be dependent on them for them to do the workout. But that, to me, you're not solving the problem permanently, because to me, I'm all about sustainable weight loss. And the only way sustainable weight loss can be achieved is if you become dependent on yourself. Like, the clients should become dependent on themselves to keep up with the habits.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And this is the thing. One of those things where okay, with regards to sort of, how can I put it? Cowboy trainers, like in the UK, when we use the sort of cowboy monogram for any sort of trade, like you've got a cowboy plumber, you've got a cowboy builder. It's they're sort of roguish, and they should be watched very carefully. With regards to, there are a lot of sort of rogue cowboy trainers out there, which sort of roam around on the realms of Instagram, touting their wares and offering the world, the universe in for in a very short period of time, or a program which is just being okay, this is Tom's, there's a cookie cutter. This is Duncan, here's a cookie cutter. This is James, here's a cookie cutter. And you're just oh, what are you doing? Do the job properly, you know what I mean?
I know, but unfortunately, again, because people, I think, those people look really good. They have a nice chiseled body, and people look at them and say, oh, he has a nice body, he must know what he's doing. Yeah, he knows what he's doing or she's doing for themselves. But unfortunately, they have to also understand psychology, how to develop habitual behaviors, how to overcome obstacles, because, life happens.
Yeah.
And the one thing I always tell my clients is that you got to get in shape while living your life. In other words, that's why the Biggest Loser doesn't work. If I take you or myself outside my life and you put me in a nice resort and all I have to worry about is getting in shape, of course I can get in shape. The idea is, how do you get in shape while living your life? How do you resist a cookie when your coworker brings cookies in the office and puts them right on your desk? How do you deal with that? How do you resist cravings living in the real world where there's temptations are all around you?
Yeah.
To me, that's what we need to teach people on how to do. Because once you learn how to resist cravings, it doesn't matter what's going on in your environment. The one thing I always tell my clients is, don't try to control your environment. Learn to control yourself. Like I was telling about the junk food.
Yes.
In my house, I keep all my favorite junk food in my house. I have all the cookies. Chip Ahoy is my favorite cookies. I have all of them.
Yeah.
But I've learned, and my kids too, it doesn't matter if it's Wednesday, if it's Thursday, if it's Monday, it doesn't even faze me to go have those cookies, although it's in my house. Because in the past, when I first tried to get rid of junk food, by the way, I got rid of it from my house, because all nutritionists tell you, get rid of junk food from the house, out of sight, out of mind. But what happened when I went to my mother's house? My mother kept the cookies, kept the devil dogs. So I would go to my mother's house and I would have not just one, half a box. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, I need to control me, my urges, no matter what's going on around me. And it was with a little practice. Now I'm at the point, it doesn't really matter what's going on, what you're eating in front of me. It doesn't faze me. And that's what I teach my clients, is how to not allow cravings or what your coworkers are doing influence your decisions.
Yeah. I also like one of those things when you're sort of like trying to like cut out things which are bad for you.
Yes.
And you've got the cravings for it. Like, doesn't matter if they're not in your house, you magically find yourself in a place where you can actually find it. You have no idea how you may have got there. It's like
your subconscious mind is guiding you.
Yeah, you're going, hey, how did I end up in the supermarket? How did this end up in my hand? It's like,
well, I always tell people that it's in human nature to want what we can't have. The moment you tell yourself, no more chocolate, all of a sudden, that's all you're dreaming about is chocolate. And somehow chocolate finds you. It's amazing how that happens.
It's like chocolate finds you. It's like, baby, it wasn't me. It was the chocolate. It found me. That's like the Chips Ahoy cookie. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. It's like
here.
We're like,
eat me.
Where you been? I've missed you. Come on. Yeah. No, one won't hurt.
Yeah. One, and then one becomes two. As a matter of fact, binge eating, I blame the diets for that. Because once you give in, you say to yourself, oh, well, I gave in already. As might as well have half of the box. And tomorrow, I'm going to start fresh. And tomorrow, I'm going to run an extra mile. And tomorrow never comes.
Yeah. Like, this is the thing. One of the things with regards to like sort of nutrition, like I would say at this moment in time, we live in a time where we know more about nutrition than we've like any other generation has known about nutrition before. And like people, like one of the things I think which still puzzles me, because people now go, yes, have a vegan diet. Yes, have a carnivore diet. Yes, have this diet, that diet. And you like go, okay, there's a reason why we're herbivores. It's the case of the human body is developed and evolved so you can eat as much stuff as possible so you can survive. And like knowing how to sort of balance that out, not sort of going down one extreme path or the other. I don't think anyone really sort of sits down and takes the time out, because look, back in the day, look, you're from Greece. Like my parents originate from Nigeria. We would have like certain foods just from that region. And like basically over generations, so over time, we get into that particular food. Now, you live in the United States. I live in the UK. Like, yes, I have access to literally more or less any food I want around the world. You very much the same, even
Yep.
just being outside of New York. So it's a case of you don't know how like your body's going to react to certain foods, how they're prepared in other places, to how it might affect you from other places, you know?
Yep. What I found is that as far as eating is concerned, is I looked at my home city when I lived in Greece. I moved here when I was 15. When I lived in Greece, on the island I was on, cancer was a rare disease. No, I know anybody that had it.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's, dementia, nobody had it. It was a non-existent disease. Thin was the norm. People lived to their 90s and 100s. That was the norm, and people didn't suffer for 4 or 5 years before they died. Usually people died healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my great grandmother died at was like in her late 90s. Up to the day she died, she was up and around. She actually cooked food for the whole family. We had a great time. She went to sleep and she didn't wake up. That was the norm, though. That's how people actually passed. It wasn't in today's world. People suffer with some disease for many years before they finally died. Now I'll go back to Greece, and things are as bad as here. What changed? Our habits. Our habits changed due to marketing. A lot of marketing start getting into our behaviors, where in the old days, our traditions is what passed the healthy habits from generation to generation. Unfortunately, those traditions are dying off. And marketers now have taken over the job of tradition. But the problem is the marketers are not looking after our health, are looking to sell a product.
Yeah. No.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's selling a product and basically selling ease of use. Because like you think about it this way, right? Okay. For example, like your lovely grandmother who passed away in her sleep. She like if she was like, okay, I'm going to make like a salad, or I'm going to make like any sort of typical dish. Or like, okay, do this. I'll get my fresh food and do this. Prepare. Maybe take half an hour, maybe an hour, and there it is. Today, like it's a case of I need to have something to eat. You can get instant pizza. You can get like things which you can just throw in the oven. It will be ready for you in half an hour, no prep time, and it's just there. Easy, convenient, but easy and convenient doesn't necessarily mean healthy and good.
Exactly. Actually, there was an interesting study about exactly what you said. They had one group of people. Both groups ate French fries. The only difference was one peeled the potatoes, cut the potatoes, cooked the potatoes, and ate the potatoes. And the other group just took the French fries out of a bag, put them in the dip fryer, and ate them. On average, the group that made the potatoes themselves ate a lot less than the group who got the instant potatoes.
Oh, trust me, look, when you've got French fries, back in the day way back in the day when I worked in a cinema, they had a fast food stand where you could cook up fries and burgers. Like one of the things, I would not lie to you, like the easiest thing to graze on in the world is French fries.
Yes.
Especially when you've put on, oh good God, I have no idea how much salt I put on those, but
Yeah, no, I like French fries.
Oh yeah.
The other thing though about nutrition, and which I think a lot of nutritionists don't talk about enough. You see, nutrition, to me, proper nutrition has two parts. Part one is what you eat.
Okay.
Makes a difference. Part two, how you eat. You see, how you eat plays a huge role on how the food affects you. I'll give you an example. Do you remember the documentary Super Size Me?
Yes, I do.
The guy went to McDonald's for 1 month and he gained 26 pounds and he got very sick.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. In 2011, I did the same experiment. I went to McDonald's for 2 months, though, not 1 month like he did. So for 2 months, I was eating most of McDonald's. I did have some Burger King too, French fries and Coke also, but I ate the same food in the
betray McDonald's.
What?
How dare you betray McDonald's?
Yeah. So I wasn't close to McDonald's at that time. That's why I had to go get the Burger King. Okay. So, my wife loved it because she didn't have to cook for those 2 months,
Okay, sure.
You're like, yes, I don't have to cook for him anymore. So And I went to the doctor. I had my blood work done before and after, cholesterol, triglycerides, my weight, my blood pressure, everything. And I made sure my workouts stayed the same, which, by the way, at that time, I wasn't, in total, I would say I was worked out between 1 to 2 hours total per week. So I wasn't killing myself working out either. But I made sure everything stayed the same. The only thing that changed was that now, with the exception, I followed the 3 how to eat habits that I teach. The first one, I call it the 16-hour habit, similar to intermittent fasting. But I was teaching that before intermittent fasting was even in existence. I was teaching it for many years because that's how I was raised in Greece. The second habit, eat only when hungry and no more than twice a day. So lunch and dinner. And the last one is eat slow and mindful and stop eating when you satisfy your hunger. So those are 3 habits I was following while eating McDonald's. So you know what happened to me after 2 months? Nothing. Actually, my weight went down 3 pounds. My cholesterol actually went down 10 points from 168 to down to 158. And again, the point was not the McDonald's food is good. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is if you watch how you eat, your diet becomes more forgiving with what you eat. The ideal thing would have been to eat really good food and to eat that way. But by becoming more careful with how you eat, now we eat less often. Like, do you know anybody that teach people to make sure you're hungry before you eat? Most of us eat because it's lunchtime, because it's breakfast time, because it's dinner time. Do you ever stop and ask yourself, why am I eating? Am I eating because society told me I have to eat? And that's something I think is very important for people to learn, because in Greece, when I lived there, breakfast was a non-existent meal. Nobody ate breakfast. It was lunch and dinner. And lunch was the main meal. Dinner was leftovers from lunch. And many times adults would not even eat twice. So we only eat lunch and then we'd even skip dinner. And it was part of our culture. And by the way, that's how I came up with the 16-hour habit. It's like, wait a minute. In Greece, we normally go for at least 16 hours or longer without eating any food. I came up with the guy's name. It's a Japanese doctor. In 2016, he won the Nobel Prize I think, in medicine, for he discovered autophagy. Autophagy is a process where the body goes within to cleanse itself, in a sense. Well, when you go for 16 hours or longer without food, the body goes into this process, which this doctor discovered of how exactly works. That process lowers your chance of dementia, lowers your chances of cancer, makes your body more efficient at burning fat. It makes your body more sensitive to insulin, which lowers your chance of developing diabetes. So that one habit, the 16-hour habit, all of a sudden food that might not be as good for you becomes less bad, I can call it, by eating that way.
The impact is not as harsh, let's say.
Yes. And that's why I always tell people, listen, you have a choice. You could eat more often, but be very careful with everything you eat. Or would you rather eat less often, but don't have to be as strict? And what I discovered, like I remember in Greece, we used to eat basically bread with every meal. We even had bread with pasta. It was something we always had. So bread, pasta, potatoes, it was something that we always ate. And yet it didn't affect our health or weight. Where now bread, pasta, potatoes, all these high carb foods has a negative effect on weight. So how come in Greece it didn't affect us? And same thing in Italy, by the way, is because we ate less often. So because we ate less often, our bodies could deal with pasta and bread and potatoes and all those high carb food without any negative effects. And the other thing we're talking about, vegetable diet, like the true Mediterranean diet, it's really a high fruits and vegetable diet, low in meat. Like in Greece, we ate meat once or twice a week. That was all the meat we ate. We wasn't this meat every single day with every single meal.
Yeah. No, but like this is the thing. I think with regards to that, like with regards to sort of nutrition, health, like the whole sort of gambit, with regards to like this sort of period in time where we're still in the pandemic, but we're sort of moving out of it now. Like I would say there was this one truly like true moment where they could have said the whole world as a whole went, okay, yeah, fitness and health. Like basically, look, what this pandemic kind of likes a lot of is when people are not in the best like shape,
Yep.
not like in the best like health, and like yeah, if they got pre-existing conditions and they're not in the best shape or in the best health, it will it looks like it will take you down hard. Like what you
Exactly.
need to do is like yeah, do a little bit more exercise at home, eat better, get yourself more in shape, and yeah, it's not a cure-all. It's not like we're not saying it's going to make sure you're going to be like you won't be able to get it, but you'll be in a lot better shape to fight it when it comes along.
Again, to me, it's all about chances. In other words, you could do everything right and still get cancer. You can do everything right and still get dementia. But if you do everything right, it greatly lowers your chances of getting cancer or even getting, COVID-19. Because to me, the better shape you're in, the much better chance of you have, even if you catch it, to recover from it or to recover from anything, even surgeries. Like the one thing, like I work with a lot of people that had knee surgeries or hip surgeries, and the doctors always say, if a lot of them actually come to me before the surgery, so this way they train with me a couple of months before the surgery, and the stronger your legs are when you do have the surgery, the recovery rate is much faster. So to me, getting in shape all around is like the best thing you can do. This is the best insurance policy that you can have when it comes to your health and lower your chance of developing any disease.
Yeah, like this is the thing. One of the things I often say, I sort of like look at life with sort of three tenets, like fitness, like intellect, and skill set. The like fitness comes first because if you're like fit and healthy, it gives you energy to go out. Yes, work on your intellect and like yeah, become smarter. Then work on your skill set. Yeah, and then once you've got those sort of three things going, other things can start coming and formulating in your life. Because what I often see is when people don't work on their fitness or like their health, and they have poor fitness, they have poor health, like yeah, their energy levels are down, like they can't actually sort of push themselves intellectually, and like yeah, that sort of skill set they want to do, whether that be like doing photography, going places, like yeah, reading books and everything like that, it is greatly diminished. So it's like yeah, work on your health, work on your fitness first,
It
and like
affects,
all things will come to you, you know?
because it affects everything else in your life.
Yeah.
The one thing affects everything else, affects your money, affects your, how you can think. Unfortunately, it affects so many things. On the other hand, the one of the quotes is not my quote. I heard it somewhere, but I thought it was pretty good. Was health is not everything, but without it, nothing else matters. And I thought that was very well put.
Yeah.
Because yes, I want to be healthy so I can enjoy life. But if my life becomes all about fitness, in other words, I have to spend 9 hours a day exercising, what is the point of being in shape? So, but without health, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter family, because everything gets affected by your health. And to me, I'm hoping what people get out of this is that everybody can get in shape. Yeah. Just start small, be consistent, and you'd be surprised the shape you're going to be in a year from now. And I give you a perfect example. This lady, she had very good attitude. And the first year, she only lost 13 pounds. A lot of people were like, only 13 pounds in a year. That's terrible. But she had a good attitude. And she goes, you know something? At least I didn't gain any more weight and I lost 13 pounds. But she kept up with it. Within, I think, another year, she lost altogether all 36 pounds she wanted to lose. And there's somebody that I keep in touch, because she doesn't come here anymore, because again, the idea is not to need me, but we keep in touch. And she's been able to, I think it's been 7 or 8 years now, maintaining her weight, no problem, without me. To me, that's true success. Yeah. But she had the right attitude, that small steps. I didn't care that she goes, hey, yes, I only lost 13 pounds in a year, which most people consider that very low. But I lost it while enjoying the process too. That's important.
Yeah, something we sort of skipped over, because like this is the thing we're talking about. Basically changing habits, but it's a case of like those like habits when you've got all of those habits changing, like put those habits in place, practices in place, what it's really truthfully doing, it's just bringing in a lifestyle change.
Yes.
And like the whole thing is people have got to be prepared to change their lifestyle if they want to change something about themselves. And if they can't, if they're not ready to change that lifestyle, all the habits and everything like that will not help them. All the sort of willpower, motivation will not help them. It's a case of that willingness to change their lifestyle, change their life. And when you go, right, oh yeah, losing weight, that's not changing someone's life in a fundamental way. But I would simply go, no, it could be, because if that person is so overweight that they're sitting on the couch and they're not actually getting out there, not experiencing life, but they've lost, for example, like 50, 60 pounds. So now they can move around and get out and see people and be more social. That's changed their life from being stuck indoors and like saying, woe is me. They've changed themselves like socially, mentally, and prepared to embrace life a little bit more, you know?
And exactly. The more you get out, the more opportunities you see, whether it's in the getting new job, promotions, it affects everything. But I also wanted to tell you another quick thing that I always tell people, and they always look at me like I'm nuts. When people come in,
you're a Man U fan. You are nuts. There you go. There you go.
So, you got one in.
Yeah, well, hey, I had to get one back because
that's right. So besides being Man U fan, people come in. Most of the people I work with are overweight people. So the first thing I tell them, you don't have a weight problem, and they're like, "What do you mean? Look at me. I have a weight problem." No, you don't have a weight problem. What you have is a behavioral problem. Weight gain is only the side effect. Bad health is only really the side effect of your behaviors. So if you want to lose weight permanently and improve your health permanently, you have to change your behaviors. In other words, change your lifestyle, like we talked about. If the lifestyle changes, it can create, lifestyle changes in your weight or your health. And this way you really focus on the root cause of the problem. Because if you only focus on the weight, well, I can have the gastric bypass surgery, lose the weight, but did you really fix the problem? Did you fix what caused you to gain weight?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. And that's, to me, what we need to focus on is the behaviors.
Yeah, I think like with that, like the sort of mental accountability which comes with fixing those behaviors. I think there's a lot of people which they don't actually want to sit down and sometimes have that long, hard look, that in that mirror where you stare back and like you're just staring back at yourself and there's no one else around. And it's like, okay, like I said earlier with the consistency, look, if it's down, like if everything's down to you and 90% of the time it is, your own individual responsibility. Like you go, right, why do you say 90%? Yeah, because sometimes life can be really shitty and like, you know what I mean? It like those moments come to us and there's not a lot you can do about it. But other time, most of the times, it's how what we do, how we handle it, and where we put where our mental space comes from,
No, exactly. Because at the end of the day, we don't control everything, but the things let's try to focus on the things we can control and take actions on those things. And the things you can't control, nothing you can do about it. Don't worry about them. But the good news, I think the things that we can control will make the biggest difference in your health and your weight, in everything, actually.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, so with what you're doing right now, what sort of direction do you want to take your journey with this all?
I am actually trying to bring my system to the world. Like that's what I call the live your way thin system. The reason I call it live your way thin is because you have to live your way there. You can't take a break from your life, get in shape, and then go back into your life. You have to live your way to shape, which means like changing habits. And my focus is eventually to have it like an online system where anybody, doesn't matter where you live, can actually join. And the system actually focuses primarily on 5 habits, because the fact is, not all healthy habits are created equal. Some habits have more of an effect on your health and weight than others. So what I did was, and I've been in the business for 30 years now, I focused, okay, I said, where are the habits that will have the biggest impact? So when somebody starts, let's focus on changing those habits. And the first 5 habits that I find have the biggest impact are the exercise habit that we talked about,
Yeah.
the 16-hour habit, similar to intermittent fasting, the eat only when hungry habit. And again, people need to learn what is hunger, what is not hunger, what is craving. Then the slow and mindful habit. And then the next one is my favorite one, make junk food special habits. Notice I didn't say eliminate junk food, make it special. Treat it as it was meant to be treated, as a treat. Like junk food, nothing wrong with having junk food, but junk food is supposed to be something you have once in a while, not an everyday treat. Like, we came up with the idea that you should have dessert after every dinner. That's in Greece. We had like desserts only on the weekend. Like I remember on the weekend, my mother would get us potato chip and Coke. It was such a huge deal to be able to have Coke with potato chips. Now people have potato chip and Cokes all the time.
Yeah.
So those are and then the next habit after that is try to increase your fruits and vegetable intake and decrease your meat intake. So my system, that's all the initial habits that we start people with, but we start with one at a time, like a gradual step-by-step system, methodically going through. And eventually people should be able to go on their own. The idea is to create independent people that need nobody to maintain their habits.
Excellent. My. I have to say, time is flying by.
Yeah, no. It's like when you're having fun.
Yeah, what can I say? It's all good things. So, like, completely out of left field. Now, if there was one thing you could do, like go a place, meet somebody, do something out of the ordinary from your sort of day-to-day life, what would that one thing be?
Something, one of my things I always wanted to do is fly in a private jet.
Fly in a private jet?
Yeah, that was it's on my bucket list.
Well,
to fly in a private jet, fly somewhere. Also, actually, did you know there is, you can fly in the MiG. There's a place, I think there's a place in the United States, but there's also a place outside Moscow that you can actually go and fly in the MiG. It's very expensive.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to Moscow right now.
Not right now. Let things go past to know later.
Yeah, like this. I go, wait, is that an F-17? Oh, no.
Might be dangerous right now. But to me, like, that was my like bucket list, a private jet. It would be nice to experience that one time.
Okay. Now, where would you fly in this private jet? Or is it just go up?
Well, to Greece, we go. I mean, right now, go from here to Greece, it would be nice, It might be a much shorter flight too than compared to commercial flights.
Like, hey, put it this way. Like, if it's just you and your lovely lady on this flight, just like, I've got to say, it'd be nice, quick and easy.
I know, because we missed going to Greece the past 2 years because of COVID.
Yeah.
So we, usually we go back to Greece every other year. But the past couple of years, we've missed it. Have you been to Greece, by the way?
I have been to Greece. I was in Athens. Oh, God. What year was this? This must have been, I'm going to say around about 2009, possibly 2010. So, got basically saw all the sort of Olympic Park, islands there. Greece is, how can I say? It's a lovely country. It's like, it can be like, it's got elements of Rome about it where, if you're in a taxi, like things fly out at you.
Yes.
Everywhere. You're like, oh my God. But yes, I had a good time.
Very, very aggressive drivers in Greece.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I've driven in Greece too. I know it. It's a very, people, like, the joke is in Greece, the street signs and lights are only suggestions. You don't need to follow them. We suggest, the red light means we suggest to stop. But if you don't want to, don't worry about it. Just go right through.
Oh yes, yeah. Put it this way, yes. The old adage of like, yeah. Same thing with like Rome. Like, yeah. If you're trying to cross the road, you make sure you find the prettiest young lady, and you follow her, like at least about by 3 feet. Don't.
And you better look both sides a couple of times before you cross the road, because in Greece, cars always have the right of way. I don't know if that's the rule, but the bigger the car, the more right of way you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You crossed the road? Yes, I did.
You're still alive.
What are you doing right now? I'm getting a taxi to go back across the road. Brilliant. Now, yeah, I have no more questions to ask because like time has come to an end. I had a fantastic time.
Same here.
Yes. Can you tell the lovely people how they can find you out there?
Yeah, if they want to check out my system, they can go to my website, liveyourwaythin.com. And he has all the information, the 3 ways they can join my system. And again, it's liveyourwaythin.com. And keep it very simple. It's a simple system. It's about changing habitual behaviors. So to me, that's the answer to sustainable weight loss, is changing their behaviors. They got you overweight and out of shape.
Yeah, absolutely. I will put all of the information, how you can get hold of Stavros. It's like, yes, like, even he, Man United fan, don't want to say anything, but it's like, it's like, it'll be in the description. And the show notes. So yeah, please go contact him, get in, help. Like live your way thin, and make the most of it. So I'd like to say thank you to you, sir. You have been awesome. You have been amazing. You've been a star, superstar. Love it.
Thank you for having me, though. We really enjoy our conversation. Although you're a Liverpool fan, but we'll forgive you.
Well, you know what? As I say, I won't punch down. There you go. And I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors, for sticking with us, staying with us up until the very end. Please stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be in this world, and then some. Have a great day, guys. Yes. Peace. And we are...